It's made our classes be a lot easier, like history. We put PowerPoints on Smartboard instead of having to go through a long process like we used to have to in 6th grade. So it's a lot easier now than it used to be.
First of all, Smartboards are awesome. It's easier to stay on track because, you know, you can have this up in giant letters, obviously. It's nice because, you know, resources and videos can be played very easily. You don't have to crowd around the corner of the room to find a TV. You don't have to order it. You can VC with a VCR thing, which I remember back in 5th grade, and I used to hate that because I'd always be going in the back and I had bad eyesight, so this helps.
Because they're so much cooler and you can do more things on them, and I hate chalkboards because they make my ears hurt.
Smartboard's better because you can like flip to different pages and stuff, and you don't have to like erase stuff, and you can just keep flipping back, so then you can like see everything, and it's not going to be as crowded because you have like more space on a smartboard than you would on a whiteboard, because you'd have to start erasing stuff, and like someone might not have copied it all down correctly, and then you'd have to like rewrite part of it back up. You could just like, flip back to a page, so it's just easier.
Well, I like the Wi-Fi because it makes it easier for like students to like bring their own technology to school, and like so they don't have to always have to worry about like going to the library, and it makes it easier to do like homework on your computers and stuff. I like the smart boards because it makes it easier for the teachers to access documents and stuff they need to show us rather than projectors. Those are kind of a hassle.
I like that we've gotten more smart boards because we're able to do more and access more websites, and instead of having to do it on our own time, the teachers are able to show us like virtually what's going on. And there's a lot more like learning activities where it could be in the whole class, and we can go up one at a time and do the activity. And it's easier to take notes because the teacher can type, and it can be projected on the board.
You know, the benefit of smart boards is the fact that teachers can pull like pictures out of your book and show you how to like actually like draw on the book, because you really can't draw on a book, but you can do it up on a smartboard, and it kind of helps you understand a little bit. I know it helps me. And then a drawback of the smartboards is the fact that people don't use them as often as other teachers, so it's flipping from using a board to using the smartboard may be difficult for some people.
Well, the technology that we have at Nicolet Middle School has really been vital to our classroom success. I teach 7th and 8th grade science, and my smartboard is used every hour of every day. And even when I'm not in here, I have other teachers that come in my classroom and use it for target time and study hall, and so it's really a crucial piece to our success. I use my document camera all the time. We do an awful lot of labs, and so I'm able to take components of that lab and use the doc camera and then put that on the smartboard. I also have another type of document camera that we can hook up to my microscopes that we can project onto the smartboard, and that has been very successful. The Tech Tuesday programs that we've had offered here by Mr. Anderson have been very instrumental in helping staff members become more versed with their skills with technology, and I believe that we're very fortunate to have what we do here at Nicolet Middle School.
As a first-year teacher last year, I was actually really surprised by the amount of technology that I had access to. So by being able to have a smartboard in my classroom, which I didn't have when I was student teaching, I could get students to actually come up to the board and do stuff as opposed to just projecting notes onto a screen. Also, by having access to smart response systems, this year especially, I've been able to have students see immediate feedback, which lets them to analyze their own confidence in an area a little bit better. So we can have practice quizzes and then create a plan of action to study based on the results of the practice quiz. The other thing that I have in my classroom, because it's science, is the doc cam. And for the first time, I've actually been able to show kids, without adjusting every single microscope around the room, what they should be seeing when they look into a microscope. So they're able to see the cells up on the smartboard in real time. They get to see me struggle to get the microscope to focus, so that they don't give up as easily when they don't see it right away. The other piece of the DotCam that we use it for is demonstrating on the actual textbook where I'm looking and getting them to be able to take notes out of a text instead of having to go copy it 10 times or do whatever else with it. I can just put it under the DotCam. It's up on the board. They can see it, know where I'm looking. They can look in the same place in their book for a clearer picture, and it just helps to increase the fluidity. The one thing that I'm still working on trying to get better at doing is including small group. When I have the large group, it's a lot harder to create more of the interactive tools. So working on creating more of the small group interactive, kids working at the smartboard on an assignment, navigating their way through a smart notebook file. That would be something that I want to get a little bit better at.
One of my favorite parts of having the smartboard in our classroom is being able to take virtual tours. For example, I taught the Diary of Anne Frank with my 6th graders this winter, and because we're not able to all take a class field trip to Amsterdam, Holland, we could take a virtual tour of the Anne Frank Museum and secret annex where she hid out. And that was almost as good as being there in person.
I was a student teacher from UW-Whitewater, and one really important thing why it was really great having the smartboard in the class I student taught in was that we had a student with a visual impairment, and since he wasn't able to see small print, he was able to use a smartboard to take exams and to do projects on.
In our music classrooms, we use a lot of, pull up a lot of YouTube clips, have a lot of access to a lot of music right away, and it's great for rehearsals to pull up something of a piece that we're doing and have a professional group and hear it immediately. So that's the biggest way that I use technology and use our smartboards in our music classrooms.
I think some of the successes that we've had with the infusion of smart boards and other smart technology, I think we've increased probably tenfold the number of smart boards that we have, response systems, document cameras. It's made our district more attractive. We've seen significant increases in open enrollment since we've undertaken this initiative. So that's been a very positive for the district. Another success would be the number of teachers. A strong majority of teachers are using the technology to its fullest intent and capabilities. I think there would be a challenge in that same category. We still have too many teachers not using the technology to its fullest extent.
So this technology is really useful for helping instruction be more student-centered, specifically in the field of science with inquiry. I myself wasn't that familiar with smartboards or smartboard technology before I started my field study, and it was important that I had spent so much time getting used to it, and now I'm able to implement it in the classroom, able to use my training. And now when I go into a classroom that doesn't have the technology, I struggle knowing how to take one lesson that I've already planned using the technology and then present that to students without using the technology.
Our smart boards are used every single day by every single teacher as well as students. It's just not an over-glorified projector in many cases. We've also done some really neat things with the document cam where we can start showcasing student work. We can be modeling when the smartboard isn't the right tool for us. We can go to the document cams and show model examples of students. Students take pride in that. They can actually do the lesson for the teacher right there on the document camera, which is really cool. And in more and more cases, our clickers are being used. I was just doing an observation the other day, and it was just an awesome lesson. And it was almost like a little exit strategy where she said, grab the clickers, we're going to do a little exit. And they grabbed them, they knew the routine, they answered, and they left. And my follow-up to the teacher is, weren't you going to show them the answers? And she said, well, I want to take that information and really take a look at it after the kids are gone to see what I need to do the next day. A simple example of how we're using those items. I'll be selfish. I've been using those items as well in my staff development, my staff meetings. Any way that I can demonstrate and model that technology, I try to do it. The other neat thing is it's a cool factor for our kids. They think it's really neat technology. They're not scared of it. And every week I give tours of our school at the elementary school, and our community and our incoming guests are amazed at the amount of technology we have and that the usage of it is high, and that they tell me that, well, my school had 2 smart boards in the whole school and my kid never got to use them. So that's a neat thing that we can offer to our community as well as kids coming in from other places. So thank you, WTI. This has been a great experience to work with you, as well as training us and always coming back to us and saying, how are things going? And we've got a great group of people that work with WTI from our district and a great partnership. So it's awesome. Thanks.